hundreds of journalists and economists and industry representatives and interest groups. They're all temporarily at the moment behind bars in budget lockups, getting across all the details before the Treasurer delivers the speech later tonight, so they come out and tell us all about it afterwards. And among them is our own Tim Blair. He's in the lockup for the Daily Telegraph, but I caught up with him before he went into the lockup, and I noted that given what Labor's been saying about the budget, it was a bit like he was leaving the real world behind for a while to spend a few hours in make-believe land.
Yeah, it's going to be like the opposite of a detox tank. You're going to get toxed up in the lockup and come out and then hopefully regress into normal. But this one's very different, as you'd be aware, Chris, this budget, because ordinarily we know a great deal more than even we know about this budget. We know a great deal more in advance, and we can do a fair amount of pre-planning about what we're going to write about. But a lot of people didn't expect there'd be a budget this year. We thought there'd be an early election that would push the budget back. So maybe a few of us have been caught on the hop. We'll see how things turn out.
Yeah, but it's the sense of unreality that confounds me. As I mentioned at the top of the show, Anthony Albanese was out there this morning saying he's got debt down. Now debt's spiralling towards $1 billion. He's living in an alternate universe.
Oh, completely. I just keep going back to the famous $275 saving promise, which Labor now, even though they've missed that target by thousands of dollars, Labor are now saying, oh, no, we're saving you money because we're giving you all these rebates.
Yes.
That's not saving.
No.
That's using taxes to cover for the savings not being made. It's incredibly dishonest the way they're presenting it. And I look forward to that being a theme perhaps throughout the entire budget of just faking it up. I mean, and they've got to. When the sort of promises they made are above $60 billion, how many of those can possibly be justified? How many of those will ever be met? Possibly none. Yeah,
this is the trouble, of course. What they say, the numbers they put up, the arguments they mount don't bear up to any accurate scrutiny. And which, of course, there'll be plenty of wise heads who will point that out in the budget today. But I read they're actually getting a bunch of social media influencers into the lockup in Canberra. This is what they want. They want people who just spout their lines and get it onto Instagram and not scrutinise the logic and the numbers behind their rhetoric.
Yes, that's what we need more of in hard-nosed budget analysis is social media influencers. So after they tell us about deficits and surpluses, they can advise us on whether flares are back or the other things, or whether sugar should be taxed. It's an unusual decision, let's say, but it's worked before, sort of, with the Prime Minister, who remember Albanese the DJ? That was a big theme a few years ago. He hasn't really gone back to that lately, but it's in the same sort of orbit as your social influences, isn't it?
Yeah, I hope someone gets some selfies inside the lockup with the influencers. It should be a lot of fun. Let's go back to have a look at some of the more traditional media preparations for a budget and have a look at this pick fact this morning between the Prime Minister, the Treasurer and the Finance Minister.
It's been a great task trying to land a 747 on a helicopter pad here, trying to get that inflation level down whilst making sure we maintain employment, increase wages and defend people's living standards by providing cost of living relief.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, this has been a big task, building on previous budgets, as you say, PM. Lots of investment in women and driving economic equality for women, cost of living relief, finding savings as well where we can.
Yes, such a natural spiel there, Tim. And the thing that stands out for me is this metaphor from Anthony Albanese landing a jumbo jet on a helicopter pad. That's exactly what he's done, because the only way he can do that is crash the economy.
Yes, he's for a guy who spends a lot of time on aircraft, he's possibly not aware that helicopters do this sort of thing, Chris. They go up and down. And your jets do that thing. They go across. And if you want to put one on a helipad, you are, as you say, you're crashing it. But I just love the sort of the unashamed Soviet level dishonesty here. The presentation of all that's bad as being good. You know, tractor production has gone up 400%. You know, our beetroot factory has met all of its targets. This is just bogus, and it sounds even more bogus when they script it. It just adds that sort of, you know, that bogus level of gravitas that they're aiming for, and to a lot of people, it just undermines it. It makes it sound even more ridiculous.
Look, while you're fully ensconced in budget matters today, I've got to get your thoughts on some events in the US and this extraordinary security breach, the one that anybody involved in the media would want to happen to them, and that is this encrypted social media group that's got the Secretary of State, the Vice President, all these defence officials on it, and they've included a journo on their planning for attacks against the Houthis in Yemen.
Yes, and not even a friendly journo. It's someone who's very critical of the Trump administration. They've included an enemy, if you like. But the other thing, though, is the content is actually really good. What we've now seen leaked reveals that, for example, Vice President J.D. Vance and Peter Hegseth and all the people who are involved in it, what they're saying in their private official meetings is exactly what they're saying, exactly the same tone as what they're saying, you know, in public. So in a way, and you don't want to be sort of too conspiratorial about it, in a way it almost looks as though this might have been a deliberate thing to sort of give a good sort of PR glow to the administration.
You're right. It's kind of reassuring to see that.
But it doesn't hurt them.
Yeah, it's reassuring to see that consistency rather than some sort of gung-ho behind-the-scenes attitude. Here's the president. He didn't know much about it, he reckons.
I don't know anything about it. I'm not a big fan of The Atlantic. To me, it's a magazine that's going out of business. I think it's not much of a magazine, but I know nothing about it.
Yeah, he's got nothing to say except attacking The Atlantic. Fair enough. We'll see where all that ends up. Tim, good luck getting through it all this evening and this afternoon, and we'll catch up with you later in the week.
Good on you, mate. Thank you.